Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whichever part of the world you are joining us from, Global Council for the Promotion of International Trade welcomes you all for this prestigious event on World MSME Day 2023. I am Ananya Banerjee Chatterjee, the R&D and Communication Officer for GCPIT. Every year on June 27, Micro, Small and Medium Sized Enterprise Day is celebrated to honor their role in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Small and medium sized enterprises account for up to 90% of businesses, 60 to 70% of employment, and they account for their half of global GDP according to the UN. Global Council for the Promotion of International Trade is an organization based in India, South Africa, United States, and UK with broad and council members representing across the world. This year, we are celebrating the day with global perspective from various departments, ministries, chambers of commerce, and international organizations. We believe that global perspective has a significant impact on paving the way to the future. Coordinated global responses is key to MSME post-pandemic economic recovery. World MSME Day is an important opportunity to look at this topical issue in a very practical and policy-oriented way in the global context of MSME. Here, we ask the rest of the world to work together to help MSME get through the current crisis and build up their ability to handle future shocks. We encourage GCPIT members to create an open, fair, non-discriminatory, and predictable global trade and businesses environment that helps and encourage MSMEs to participate in international trade and businesses. Today we have a very special guest with us, Ms. Carol Hachandi Lupia. She is an accomplished leader and strategy consultant helping growing businesses achieve high performance and sustainable growth. She is also an expert, cultural transformation expert, and an advisor focusing on driving meaningful transformation. Her work also involves supporting the growth of small and medium-sized enterprises through tailored programs. She founded two consulting firms. First, Enterprise Upscales in South Africa, and second one is Tusum Pew Business Consulting in Zambia. And today, she on the topic on which she will be delivering her valuable insights is international trade and investment opportunity of her country. Over to Ms. Carol.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction, and then also for setting the tone within which our discussion this morning, evening, depending on where you're watching us from, is going to happen. I'm really honored to be part of this esteemed organization, the Global Council for the Promotion of International Trade. I do believe that there are a lot of collaborative opportunities as well as synergies that can be leveraged within such a global network of industry thought leaders and experts. So as rightly said, this morning or evening, wherever you're watching it from, I'm going to talk about the high-level investment landscape in Zambia. I'm going to just share my screen now, if that is okay. So Zambia is a very beautiful country. In fact, we have an iconic song that is sung by one of the singing groups here in Zambia that is called Come View the Beautiful Land of Zambia. If it weren't for the internet connectivity issues, you know how technology sometimes plays you, I was going to play that video. However, I have the video ready for those of you who would like to hear about the beautiful land of Zambia. I first of all want to start with acknowledging the fact that depending on where you are and probably what industry you're in, the MSME categorization is very different. And so I thought to start with how we categorize micro, small, and medium enterprises in Zambia. We actually categorize these in using three variables. We look at the investment levels, which usually is the equipment, and then also look at the annual revenue and the number of employees. So this is how we categorize MSMEs in Zambia. You can see there that the micro will have an investment level of up to 80,000 Zambian kwacha and up to employees. And then on the far end, where you have the medium enterprise, you have investment up to 500,000 kwacha and employees up to 100. And then as you grow, then you go into what is called a small corporate, and then obviously you become a big corporate. I had to do this categorization in light of the World MSME Day that we're celebrating. Okay, so the significance of MSMEs is very crucial in the economy of many countries. And that is because if the MSMEs are ignored, there are a lot of adverse consequences that would come to a country. I can just cite a few. Let's talk about unemployment and underemployment. We all know that neglecting MSME sector can lead to limited job opportunities and higher unemployment rates. There would be also the situation where you experience economic stagnation. So the MSMEs are key drivers of economies and contributors of economies. Ignoring their potential will obviously hinder economic development, and then there will be, stagnation in the economy. And also there'll be limited diversification and limited avenues for entrepreneurship and innovation. And then the last example that I can think of when you think about the adverse consequences of ignoring MSMEs in a country, there would obviously be a concentration of only big powers. And that will lead to monopoly, and that will lead to higher prices of commodities for the consumers. So according to let me just go back there. According to the International Trade Center report for 2020, the MSMEs in Zambia contributed about 70% GDP to GDP and 88% of employment. And it's so amazing that there's a staggering 97% of small businesses that contribute to the overall business environment in Zambia. So you can see how significant MSMEs are in any given country. Now, I want us to just look at a few facts for our country, which is Zambia. We are a country that has a population of about 19 million, and we have 8 neighbors. Growing up, I remember when being taught at school, we were being taught that we are landlocked. And now the narrative has changed from being landlocked to land-linked. And this is because we are saying, look here, the fact that we're surrounded by 8 neighbors gives us a lot of advantages. Proximity to these multiple neighboring countries will obviously open up trade and economic cooperation and opportunities. We can benefit from border trading with our neighbors. There's also an issue of market access. Because we're surrounded by these countries, we have opportunities to tap into different markets and expand our export opportunities, and promote even economic diversification by getting best practices from these countries. Furthermore, and most importantly, I think it gives us a good ground for regional integration and cooperation. And as we speak, Zambia is actually a member of the few regional integration entities. We've got the Southern Africa Development Community, which is SADC, and then we've got the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, which is COMERSA, and we've got the continental one, which is the Africa Free Continent Trade Agreement. So as a country that is land linked, we have a lot of potential for regional integration, export markets, and economic diversification. And as you can see there, the GDP growth is forecasted to be 5.4 going forward. The inflation rate, I think I'm going to touch it in the coming slides, is swinging between the single digits of 9 to 10.2%. So the government has given priority to developing MSMEs. The Minister of Small and Medium Enterprises is quoted to have said that Zambia has prioritized the development of small and medium enterprises in the country because the government understands that MSMEs fuel economic growth. And to validate the government's ambition to grow the economy through the support and development of MSMEs, there's been a new ministry in the country that's been created, the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises. We also have a few government agencies whose mandate is to look after the affairs of small businesses. For example, we have the Zambia Development Agency, whose mandate encompasses developing MSMEs to grow and trade locally and to facilitate export markets. Then ZDA also facilitates investment opportunities in Zambia through partnerships, outright investments, JVs, etc., etc. And then we've got the Citizen Economic Empowerment Commission, which is mandated to support economic growth through capital funding. As we speak, a lot of Zambians have benefited from accessing funds through the CEC, as we call it here. Then we've also got the National Technology Business Center, which looks after startups through building an ecosystem. And this ecosystem that is being built is centered around the fourth industrial revolution technology. So you can see where the country is going in terms of putting together an infrastructure that supports MSMEs. I did speak about the performance of the country at a very high level. The exchange rate has improved tremendously from the previous years. When you compare, you know, the 2021 and 2022 performance, you can see that there's been a great improvement. It's not yet where we want it to be, but we are getting there. We are definitely getting there. We've seen it stabilize against the dollar. And then the GDP growth also has somewhat stabilized. We experienced negative growth in 2020. However, in 2021, and the focus to 2025 is such that we're going to have a growth of 5.4, but right now we're still experiencing a 4.3 growth going forward. So we anticipate that we are going to achieve these ambitions based on the political climate that's in the country right now and the enhanced investor confidence that we have experienced as a nation. Okay, and then when we speak about inflation, like I touched on, it's swinging between the age of a single digit to about 10.2. I want to talk about the political climate right now. Zambia has been commended for standing out as a democratic state after the 7th peaceful transition following peaceful elections in 2021. And we give credit to all the Zambians and all the politicians who are involved in this process. And we congratulate our current president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, for leading out in these peaceful elections together with all the opposition parties that paved way for him to take office. And because of this, we have seen that there's been improved investor confidence in the country, as most of the economists will tell you. Looking forward, how is it looking for Zambia? The government has been working tirelessly to improve the business environment. In fact, I came across a reading where I think Forbes magazine has ranked Zambia as the 10th among the sub-African countries in terms of the business environment. And this is because the government is looking at key issues that they want to identify to make the business environment conducive both for the local players and then also for the investors. Some of them are eliminating bottlenecks, and there's also an aggressive investment pipeline that is being developed. And we have seen a few investments being actualized as a result of the improved business environment in the country. So why should you really be interested in investing in Zambia? There's several reasons that can be discussed, right? From an economic perspective and local market conditions, cultural perspective, and all those elements put together. However, according to the Zambia Development Agency, they have identified these 6 elements as the key issues that lure investment into the country. They speak about Zambia being centrally located, like you saw how we are land linked. They also assert to the fact that there have been pro-business reforms that are being driven by the country. And, there's also private, there's a heightened focus on the promotion of private-public partnerships models. And there's an encouragement within the private sector to get involved to drive economic policies. And overall, the stable political system, above all, gives investor confidence that the investment climate is fertile for Zambia. I spoke about the different regional integrations within Zambia, and those are some of them, and the GDPs for each of that region and the population, which just tells you how Zambia is positioned to be a friend of investors because of all those opportunities that lie within the different regional integrated spaces, and then also overall at a continental level. Now, the country has identified key priority sectors, not to say that the sectors that are not the sectors that I want to show here are not being addressed. But this is how the government has identified the key sectors based on the contribution to GDP. Okay, so I think in any country, this would be your typical priority sectors, because they not only contribute to the GDP, they also ensure that the livelihoods of people within that country is well taken care of. We're speaking about transport, we're speaking about agriculture, tourism, energy, ICT. Those are the basic necessities of any population, and that's why the government has prioritized these sectors as key sectors for investment. And I'll talk about some of the incentives that the government has put in place within each of these key priority sectors. Let me begin with investment opportunities within the mining sector. So within the mining sector, there are several investment opportunities, which obviously would need to be validated in consultation with the Zambia Development Agency, because they are the custodians of this aspect of economic growth. Some of the investment opportunities within the mining sector would include exploration, engineering, mining services. And the government has put in place tax incentives, which are very attractive to the different mining activities for the investors that are looking into coming into the country from the mining perspective. And like I said, this is really just high level. We couldn't unpack every detail of the sector in this webinar. However, for interested investors, there is an opportunity to get in touch with the Zambia Development Agency, who then sits down with the prospective investor and looks and unpacks further the opportunities within the desired sector, whether it's mining or all the other ones that I'm going to talk about. Investment in technology, investment in energy is really at three levels. There's opportunities in the renewable energy, transmission infrastructure, and distribution infrastructure. And then when we look at investment in tourism, we need to first of all appreciate the fact that tourism cannot happen when there's political instability. So based on the peaceful country that Zambia is, it gives us the opportunities for investors to come in this space. We've got about 73 dialects, which gives us a very strong cultural heritage. And then we've got a number of heritage and historical sites, which are at a global level. For example, we've got the mighty Victoria Falls and the different national parks for wildlife tourism. And I'll talk about the incentives that the government has put in place for each of these sectors at a very high level. Investment in agriculture, I focused on just speaking about the farming blocks that the government has put in place. So the government has identified farming blocks in each of the 10 provinces, averaging about 100,000 hectares each. And the idea really is to create clusters within the agricultural sector. And the reason why I chose farming blocks as an investment opportunity for Zambia, because this is where typically would find a lot of MSMEs, because of the investment structure within the agriculture sector, where you can have small farmers that come together and create this cluster that's able to produce products that are exported. And then also based on the support that the government is giving through these farming blocks, I think it's important to note that in the agriculture sector, for an investor, the first place to look at will be the farming blocks. Okay. I also wanted to note within the investment opportunities with agriculture that there is an opportunity in livestock. For example, the demand for goats in Saudi Arabia is so high, and yet when you see at the growth population that we are experiencing currently, it's quite low. So there's an opportunity there to increase that population of goats so that we can meet the demand for the Saudi Arabia export. Okay, I also wanted to just highlight the major agriculture crops in Zambia, just for the investors or collaborative opportunities based on best practices in farming some of these crops. So we've got the maize, which is the staple food in Zambia, which is followed by the cassava. And there's opportunity to grow production in rice, wheat, sorghum, sweet, and Irish potatoes. Okay, over and above those sectors that I've identified, as I wrap up my presentation, over and above the key sectors that I've discussed, the government has identified multi-facility economic zones. We have the Lusaka South multi-facility economic zone, the ZCTM Chambeshi zone, the ZCTM Lusaka East, and all the other zones. Now, the idea is to attract economic diversification through these economic zones. And the Zambia Development Agency has specific details that pertains to each of these economic zones that have been identified by the country. Some of the tax incentives that have been identified or have been put in place by the government that are worth noting will be, the exemption for duty for goods originating within the SADC area. I spoke about the regional integration within the SADC area. There are also, zero-rated VAT tax incentives based on different sectors and different products. That is why I say that the details for each sector and each product is readily available at the Zambia Development Agency. And any investor looking to come into the country will have access to that information that will help them make informed decisions on the investment opportunities within our country. We've got a few success stories about of international companies that have invested in the country, and those are some of them. We've got Bala World, the Procha Hotels, just to mention, but if hasn't developed or hasn't grown based on the support that we are given from the government. We've got quite a number of success stories of MSMEs who are now in the export market. And I think with that, I have highlighted a few key industries within the Zambian environment. And then also I have shared the priority areas that the government has put in place to attract investment, international investment, to foster economic growth and development within our country. Overall, I just want to say that Zambia's climate right now is conducive for international collaboration, and more so in the MSME sector. There are a lot of opportunities for investment to grow this sector to heights of, meeting local demands, as well as entering the export market through regional integrations at a continental level and even at a global level. So with that, I just want to say thank you very much for this opportunity to speak about Zambia and the climate opportunities, the investment opportunities within our country. Thank you very much.
Located in the heart of Southern Africa, Zambia is one of the fastest growing economies with a population of over 20 million people, mostly youth. The country is blessed with abundant natural resources and vegetation, a diversity of wildlife, magnificent landscapes, and is home to the mighty Victoria Falls, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. The country has very stable macroeconomic fundamentals with a growing GDP of about 21 billion United States dollars, inflation of 9.9%, and the local currency is performing very well against the United States dollar and other major world convertible currencies, appreciating by over 18.5% from January 1 to September 2022. Zambia has proven to be a strategic hub for trade investment due to its central location with 8 neighboring countries. Zambia is a member of the Regional and Continental Economic Communities, that is, the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, Southern African Development Community, SADC, and African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. Further, Zambia is well known as a haven of investments due to its unmatched investment climate, attractive investment incentives, ease of doing business, and investor-friendly policies, supported by consistent policies and stable political will, rule of law, and peace that the country has enjoyed since her independence in 1964. The country has an ambitious vision of becoming a prosperous middle-income nation by 2030, backed by its national blueprint, the 8th National Development Plan. The overall aim of the plan is to improve the efficiency and competitiveness of the economy to sustainably lift the living standards of the people. The focus of the country is to attain economic transformation that will be marked by advancements in industrialization and economic diversification for sustained growth driven by the agriculture, mining, manufacturing, and tourism sectors, supported by ICT, transport, energy, and research and development. In terms of trade, Zambia is centrally located and land-linked to 8 neighboring countries with international transport infrastructure that includes road, railway, and air transport. The telecommunication and ICT, the insurance and banking sectors are all to international standards, making doing business easy. With the coming of the African Continental Free Trade Area, it is envisaged that the growth in market size will double to potentially induce demand for products in both the mass and niche markets. The AFCFTA brings on board an integrated market of 55 countries, a population of 1.2 billion people, and an approximate gross domestic product (GDP) of $2.5 trillion. There are various opportunities in the agriculture sector, with the government securing 100,000 hectares earmarked for agricultural activities in each of the 10 provinces of the country through farm blocks. Other opportunities include large-scale farming, farm input and agro-processing, equipment supply, and commodity storage and trading. Infrastructure development. Investment opportunities include grain storage facilities, road projects, and provincial aerodomes. Others include housing units, development and management of multi-facility hotels, convention centers, and health facilities. Agro-processing, textiles and leather, secondary processing of minerals, chemical products, electricity, construction materials, and wood products. Opportunities are available in information communication technology, medical, and franchising subsectors. In addition, Zambia has positioned herself as hub for the production of electric vehicles and electric vehicle batteries in collaboration with the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC. For more information on profiled investment opportunities, kindly check investment.unido.org/ACP/Zambia. Investors that satisfy requirements as provided for under the Investment, Trade and Business Development ITBD Act No. 18 of 2022 are eligible for investment incentives that include a 0% import duty rate on capital equipment and machinery for 5 years and accelerated depreciation on capital equipment and machinery. Further, investors that set up in multi-facility economic zones, MFEZ, or industrial parks are eligible for additional tax incentives, such as 0% tax on dividends declared on profits made on exports from the first year of commencement of works for a period of 10 years. Currently, the country has 7 operational MFEZs and industrial parks, namely the Lusaka South Multi-Facility Economic Zone, ZCCZ Chambishi Multi-Facility Economic Zone, ZCCZ Lusaka East Multi-Facility Economic Zone, Jiangxi Multi-Facility Economic Zone, Kalumbila Multi-Facility Economic Zone, Roma Industrial Park, and the Sub-Saharan Gemstone Exchange Industrial Park. In addition, ZDA also offers free personalized service to investors interested in exploring investment opportunities in Zambia. Contact the agency to arrange your visit to Zambia and to assist you in the valuation process. We look forward to seeing you in Zambia soonest.